and see. I'll Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, of course, depending upon where you're currently located in the world today. Happy Monday. I hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. If you're tuning in live, please comment below with hashtag live. If you're tuning in and catching the replay, please comment below with hashtag replay. I am here with my wonderful, beautiful friend, Diana Kim. How are you, Diana?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing
Excellent.
today?
I am doing fantastic, and I am just so happy to be here today because we are here today to start. I guess this is really the beginning of our Facebook Live series, talking about the book, discussing the book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money, and what a profound effect this book has had on both you and I. We've both read it. We are both re-listening to the audiobook now. And we came together and started discussing this book. And Diana and I are in a mastermind together where we are doing the homework. There's homework in the back of this book for every chapter. And so Diana and I, because of our mutual love of this book, we decided let's do a mastermind together and support each other and help each other through and discuss this book, have these conversations about this book. So then when we got to talking after our first mastermind session that we started, we thought, let's do a Facebook Live series and talk to people about this book and share the wealth around this book, share the information, because that's a big piece of what the book talks about is sharing the contents within the book. So Diana and I are here to have a discussion about a happy pocket full of money. Diana, please, for those who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh my gosh. So, hello everyone. My name is Diana Kim. Oh my gosh, I'm like so freaking multidimensional. So, like, I'm always like quantum leaping. I am just someone who is a generational change breaker. I'm an energy healer. If you're in human design, I'm a manifester. And I just know that if you are here watching us live, that you are meant to live your best timeline, your best life in this reality right here, right now. And that's why we're here to talk all about these things. And before I forget, I wanted just to kind of share something. Thank you all so much for your understanding in having to reschedule last minute because we were supposed to go live last week Friday, and about 15 minutes before we were going to go live, I had a personal emergency that I had to attend to, and Brad was so gracious with me. And I kind of wanted just to have this conversation because I know that feeling of, when we're expected to show up and when we tell people we're going to show up, right? And then something happens, life happens, right?
Mhm.
Life is life, and is what I like to say. Life
Yes.
is going on, right? That noticing the reaction in how you feel. And I am someone personally that when someone canceled on me or someone rescheduled at the last minute, I would get triggered and I would get angry, and I would take it very personally. And now in my own journey of working on myself, right? Working on my emotional mastery, working on my emotions, and to stop taking things personally. So part of the four agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz is, not don't take anything personal. And so when I started practicing this and I started to see the gifts in the quote unquote cancellations, rescheduling, the divine timing, if you will. And I've just really come to accept that it always happens for a reason and starting to see the gifts. And so I share this because if you were someone that may have been like upset, that for you to look at the divine timing of things and saying, okay, this is happening for a reason. Maybe that was not the right time for you to hear it. And also, happy Memorial Day for those that are watching us live
Mhm.
today on May 26th, if you're here in the United States, as I am. Um, knowing that maybe today was the perfect day. Maybe on Friday, maybe you couldn't attend it, but maybe today you can. And maybe you're watching us on the replay. So I just kind of wanted to add that in um, for those that are here watching us. And thank you so much for your patience and understanding.
I love that you shared that because we were talking a little bit about that before we jumped on the live and how people, and I was even one of those people where I would get upset in the beginning stages of my podcast. If
Mm-hmm.
someone canceled on me last minute, I would get pissed off and frustrated and all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't serving me. As I look back now, in my journey and upon my journey in the earlier days when I would get frustrated. And I think about that. It's like, why was I wasting my time and my energy doing that to myself? Because I was the only one that was suffering for that because I was getting pissed off. I was putting myself into a tailspin and that wasn't serving me. And I mean, the other person who didn't know, didn't have any idea that I was frustrated. So I was only harming myself by putting myself in that tailspin and getting frustrated. Things will happen when they're meant to happen. I am now of this mindset that, as you said, Diana, in divine timing, everything happens in divine timing. And listen, if it doesn't happen, then it wasn't meant to happen. That's it, plain and simple. And I think this is a big piece of what David Cameron Gikandi talks about in the book Happy Pocket Full of Money is we are the creator of our own situations, whether that be a good situation or a bad situation. We are the only ones who create that for ourselves. And we are the only ones that have the power to create that for ourselves. So be mindful of what you put out into the world. Be mindful of your behaviors. Be mindful of your reactions. Because really, when you think about it, our reactions to any situation are the only thing that we have control of. We can't control other people's reactions to situations, only our own reactions. And we are the only ones who suffer or benefit from our reactions and the way we behave, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And you wouldn't, the more and more I started to come into this, recognizing how we create our own suffering. And so the more and more you become aware of that, wow. And so now to segue now into ending the
Mhm.
suffering, starting to also thinking about the way that we quote unquote suffer with money. Right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's a huge can of worms we're opening. And that's what the
Yeah.
book is all about, the wealth consciousness and all of these
Yeah.
things, right?
Yes. And if I can preface, I just want to
Hmm.
share something.
Hmm.
So I am someone that grew up in lack and scarcity, right? And I know many of us have, right? That's the norm, if you will. That's the baseline, I think, for a lot of people. And I want to share something that just talking about money, a new way of money, and what we're going to talk about, I just want to share that I know it can be very triggering. So, kind of, if you're getting triggered, if you get triggered when you talk about money, when grow up with beliefs that people who have money are evil, greedy, bad, all I'm asking you to do is just sit with it. If you are in our world,
Hmm.
right? I know that if you're in either my world, if you're in Brad's world, you are someone that is kind-hearted. You're
Hmm.
someone that is here to you already are doing good in the world. You are just someone that is an integrity of love, and just sit with us as we talk and as we share about another way in a perception around money, about abundance, about wealth, because most of us have been taught a whole other way about money. And now I'm getting goosebumps right now as I'm talking about it, because I know I'm just so passionate to talk about it, because I've been on my journey of, wanting to, once I heard a different mindset around money, I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I've just been on my journey of just
Hmm.
relearning, rewiring a whole other mindset around this.
Yeah.
Very different from my family
Hmm.
and the people that I grew up with. And that's why we're here to talk about it.
Absolutely. I mean, you've
Right.
been on this journey longer than I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you that this book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money, just opened up something massive within me to start to look at things differently when it comes to money, when it comes to wealth consciousness, when it comes to what we put out into the universe, what we put out into the world. That is everything because whatever it is, whether it's good, bad, positive, negative, it will come back to you
Yeah.
tenfold. And so being mindful of how we speak, being mindful of the things we say. You had mentioned how you were brought up. I was also brought up by a single mother, so money was scarce. It was money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. We
Mhm.
can't afford this. We can't afford that. And that is one thing in this book. And honestly, let me backtrack. It doesn't, I mean, growing up that way, I think served me and it did a disservice as well in terms of growing up in that lack mindset, but also learning the value of money in a way. It's a double-edged sword, right? It wasn't easy. We couldn't get everything the things that we wanted. And we, we had to We learned about work ethic. We learn, and this is another thing, you have to work hard in order to make money. That's not true. You have to put in work, absolutely, but you don't have to slave away and work 20 hours a day and all of these things in order to make money. And so being brought up that way and now stepping into this world of new wealth consciousness, new mindset, rewiring the neuronic paths in our brains to think different. It takes work, it's hard, but you have the ability to do it. Everyone does. Every single person. This is a big part of why Diana and I wanted to do this, was to share this with everyone so that people know that this is possible for everybody. Absolutely everybody out there.
Yeah, I love that. And you were very correct, and you said that I've been on this journey a little longer, and I have.
Hmm.
I've studied on this for quite a few years, and for me, this book just kind of encapsulates a lot of things that I've learned. I just feel like it just kind of condenses everything in such a beautiful way. And I'm really appreciative of the author, David Cameron Gikandi. So we're talking about this book, which is called Happy Pocket Full of Money, and he even talks about sharing the knowledge, sharing the information, sharing the resources with people. And this book, I personally believe that it gives such a great illustration and description about quantum physics,
Hmm.
because understanding that, um, I feel like a lot of people are waking up. A lot
Yeah.
of people are starting to see things from a different lens, that we don't have to do things from the old way of being,
Hmm.
the old way of doing, which is an old paradigm. It's another level of consciousness. People are waking up, right?
Yeah.
We're just evolving so freaking fast and understanding that the things that we were taught, the things that we believed in about wealth, that you have to work really hard. That's a big one that I've been working on, that I still have that program inside of me. Oh, let me rephrase that. It's just a program that I've been, releasing and reframing,
Hmm.
rewiring, if you will. And this book, so when you understand the quantum physics, the science behind it. So I know some people need the science, right, to fully understand it, but technically this has always been here, but now it's just us having the understanding about it. So when you now incorporate the science, the quantum
Hmm.
physics, now everything can move much faster. And so the things that we believe that have to happen, in that sense where it's going to take forever, no, because there's also the understanding about time, right, that
Hmm.
you get to collapse time, that time doesn't have to be this long linear thing, that we have these beliefs that it's going to take us years, it's going to take us decades, you have to grind the grindstone, it's telling you no, right? And there's other steps in here that I think he does a great job of of sharing with us, right, that
Hmm.
we just get to do it differently. And again, I
Yeah.
know if you're in our worlds, that that you're the person that just does things differently than most of the people around you, right?
Yeah, for
Learning to
sure.
accept that.
I love that you brought up the whole time thing because that was one of the things that really stuck out for me with this book is the whole time is an illusion thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
that blew my mind when I was reading about that. He says in the book that time doesn't even exist. This is a creation that we humans have created. There is no time.
Yeah.
We have created this. Everything is here in the now, in the present moment. The past is the past. It's gone. The future hasn't even arrived yet. So all we have is what's here right now, and that's the present moment. And so many people do get stuck living in the past. They
Mm-hmm.
can't get past their traumas. They can't get past things that happened to them, things that people did to them, all of these things, and they stay stuck there. You're not going to be able to move forward if you stay living in the past. And like I said, the future hasn't even come yet. It's not even here yet. And you're projecting things way on down the road. All we have is what's here in this moment. And that's what we need to wrap our heads around. And that's where we need to be, is here and now in that present moment, because that's all we have. Nobody's promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
So live now in the present.
Yeah.
Everything is here for you right now. It's all there. It's already there. And I love that he talks about the different being mindful of the language you use and the words you choose to speak, like want or need. He says, don't use those words because how can you want for something that you already have?
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
again, that was another thing that it's like, wow, that's deep. Like I never thought about that. Everything you want is here now. So you can't want for it. It's already there for you to take it. It's just a matter of you stepping into that mindset and making it and taking it for yourself. There is more than
Mhm.
enough abundance in the world for everybody. Absolutely every person on this planet can have as much as they want. It's just a matter of if they're able to step into that mindset where they see it.
Yeah. One thing I will say though, in my own journey, because I've done a lot of healing,
Hmm.
with from my upbringing, that this book doesn't really talk about, but I'd like to
Hmm.
talk about it in that sense that you have to do the healing work to be
Hmm.
able to come to this state where you want better for yourself and you're no longer going to be controlled in a sense by your past, by your
Hmm.
traumas, because like worrying about the future, right? That means that there's no safety,
Yeah.
right? And I've been there, and worrying about the past, having regrets, right? Having a lot of guilt. And again, it's about doing that inner healing work. And I know we talked about this too, that this book doesn't talk about this, but I think people that are listening, if you're
Hmm.
still on your journey of healing, looking into nervous system regulation, because right now, if your body can't hold, if it doesn't feel safe, right, to have these big things, guess what? You're not going to be able to call it in. So
Hmm.
continue on the healing work, continuing to know and accept that, hey, you can have these amazing things,
Hmm.
and doing the work and seeing why you believe you can't have it. That's another big thing that
Hmm.
I've started to see, because a lot of us have our that work that needs to get
Yeah.
done, the things that need to get healed that make us believe that we're not worthy of having it, that we're not good enough, right? That it's not safe to
Hmm.
have it. And so continue doing that work. And as you continue, honestly, I tell my clients, I don't know if I can curse on here.
Yes, you can.
I tell my clients, because a lot of us as women, we're taught to be people pleasers, right?
Hmm.
To give, to give, to give. They don't even realize they're giving from such an empty cup. And I tell my clients, you have to be a selfish bitch. That's really what it is. That's what you have to do. And I know I say that word because the people that
Hmm.
you're giving to, the ones the ones that you're pretty much, yeah, like giving to, they're going to see you as selfish when you start to pull the energy back.
Hmm.
And that's when the focus comes in. And when you can focus on yourself, fill up your cup, then now we can come and do this work. But
Hmm.
for women, I am seeing, for a lot of us women that come from generations and cultures where you're taught that it's selfish to to think about yourself.
Yeah.
So I like to talk about this because I think it's such an important topic, and go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. It's okay.
No, I just think that, as women, because we're oracles, Brad, you know this,
Hmm.
we're oracles and we move fast. And
Yeah.
so if women can really get on board with this and understanding that, okay, it's not selfish for me to want, it's not selfish for me to pour into myself. Now I
Hmm.
can now really do the teachings, right?
Hmm.
And come to this level of wealth, abundance, prosperity, of just joy. Now I can come back and now I can give to the world. And now it's
Yes.
going to come from an entirely different state of pure love versus from a state of exhaustion, a
Hmm.
state of depleting yourself. And that's not an energy we want. I don't want women to be here. I want women to be over
Yeah.
here where we're abundant as fuck and
Yeah.
we get to pour it back into the world.
Absolutely. Brandy
Right.
Keenan says, Diana Kim, you're doing such amazing work.
Hi, Brandy. Oh, thank you so much for joining. Yes.
Hello, Karen. Hello, David. How are you guys? Thank you for tuning in. That's something that I see very commonly with the work that I do is that women are constantly putting themselves or have put themselves on the back burner. And because of all of the conditioning, they've been taught to believe that putting yourself first is selfish and you can't do that. If you have to put your family first, you have to put your kids first, your husband, your partner, whatever it is, they have to come first and then you can give to yourself, which is complete bullshit. It needs to be the other way around because if you continue to do that, you will deplete yourself and you'll have nothing left to give anybody else, least of all yourself. And
Mhm.
so I'm seeing a change and a shift in that way of thinking with the women I'm having conversations with. It's like, no, I'm putting myself first because then that enables me to give to everyone else from a full cup. Someone said to me once, they explain it like a teacup and a saucer. The overflow of the tea is what you give to others. What's in the cup is for you, and the overflow is for the others. So it's definitely, and this book talks about it, the shift in mindset. It is huge and it takes work. And but this book has cracked something open in me like I didn't even know existed. So Dan, I want to ask you, how did you stumble upon this book? How did you get turned on to this book?
So, in my studying over the years, this
Mm-hmm.
book has always kind of been in my field.
Mm-hmm.
It's just always kind of been there. I can't remember exactly. It happened last year, actually. And I read the book last year, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the way that it landed in my body again, actually, when I connected with you this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think someone just said, you need to read this book. And again, I kept saying, oh, I remember now. Rachel Pedersen.
Mm-hmm.
She is someone that is very good at marketing, social media marketing. I actually learned about her through my really good friend Whitney Mello,
Mm-hmm.
and she talks about this book, Rachel Peterson, that she reads this book every year,
Okay.
and she is someone. Rachel Peterson is actually someone that came from poverty, so she
Okay.
understands the quote unquote struggle, and so I like to follow her and listen to her. And she said that this is one of the books that helped her to become a multimillionaire.
Wow.
And I read it last year, but I was
Mm-hmm.
going through another, like I'm been quantum leaping these last few months, and I was going through my own awakening, another awakening,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. And then when you and I became more connected,
Mm-hmm.
um, you brought up the book,
Yeah.
and then I was like, okay. So I came right back to it, and I was like, okay. And then that's when it landed. And same thing, like
Yeah.
we're saying, this book. And so in all my years of studying on prosperity laws, about abundance and wealth, this book just really helped me to put it all together. So like I've already done like the money healing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Having to work through, like I was saying at the beginning of the call or of this live, that you have to work through your triggers. So
Yep.
I've really done a lot of my internal work on my triggers
Mm-hmm.
and saying, okay, and really sitting with it and saying, okay, well, what is the true understanding of this? And now to come into this whole other place and understanding that, okay, the abundance is always here.
Mm-hmm.
It's here. It's us that blocks
Mm-hmm.
the abundance.
Yeah.
It's us with our beliefs because of what we've been taught, right?
Yep.
And the one big thing that really cracked open me was about the suffering. That suffering is
Yes.
an error in thinking. I was like, wow, he's right. It is right.
Yep.
Right?
It's powerful
It is. It
when you
really is.
let that sink in. It's right because so for me, I got put onto this book through a friend of mine, Wendy Page Sterling. She turned me
Mm-hmm.
onto this book. She told me about it this year.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what month it was, but anyways, this year. But I was having a conversation with another friend of mine, Brenda, about this book, and we were talking about it. And she says, yes. She says, don't you remember I told you about this book like a year ago? I said, honestly, I don't remember. I'm sure you did. I said, but, and when I thought about that, it's funny because someone can tell you about something and it may not land, or maybe you're not ready for it at that time. And then somebody else, a completely different person, will tell you about the same thing, maybe a day later, maybe it's months later, maybe it's a year later. It's like, then it really hits and it really lands. But through that conversation with Brenda, she's like, you know what? When we talked a little while after that conversation that we originally had, and she said, because of our conversation, it reminded me that I need to go back and read this book. And she said, oddly enough, it was 1 year exactly to the day that she started reading the book again because of our conversation. So this book is so it's honestly, it's become one of my favorite books ever. It is life changing. There are so many powerful things in this book, and that's a big part of why we wanted to do this, both Diana and I. And we're going to be doing a series of these Facebook Lives to talk about the different things that this book shares. And again, he says in the book that please share the knowledge and the wisdom and the insights within this book because that will help raise the level of the consciousness above the wealth consciousness for the what's the word I'm looking for the world, for the consciousness of the world, right? So I want to ask you, oh, you were going to say something, then I'll ask you. Go ahead.
No, no, yeah, raise the consciousness of the heart-centered people, and that
Hmm.
there's that distinguished because that's the reason too why people block money, because I'm going to show this, because people don't want to be associated, right? Because
Hmm.
right now there's this conscious belief that
Hmm.
people who have this are evil, greedy, bad, right?
Yes.
So you don't, of course, your subconscious mind is going to protect you and not associate you with people that, obviously have money.
Hmm.
But the point that I want to make, that I really want to stress, is that it's the heart centered people that if I were to hand this to you, what
Hmm.
are you going to do with it? You're going to do good in the world. You're not going to
Yes.
go. It's like there's an analogy I think he uses in the book as well. You can have a kitchen knife.
Hmm.
You can either hurt somebody with it, or you can go and make, a delicious meal.
Hmm.
Same thing. It's just a tool. What are you going to do with it? And I want people who are heart centered, who are here to do good work in the world, to know the truth about it. And I want you to have more of it, because I know when you have it, when you're well resourced, you're going to do good things in the world, right? You're going to help that person that is struggling and suffering,
Hmm.
right? But the question is, will you allow yourself to receive it? Will you allow yourself to have it? And I'm going to be honest. One last thing before I
Yeah.
pause. Us women have a hard time receiving.
Hmm.
Us women, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Us women giving, giving, giving. And so this is where the cycle is not, it's not a complete circle, because
Hmm.
we are out of balance. And I speak this from my own personal experience. We're out of balance because we're giving, giving, giving. We don't know how to receive.
Mm.
And part of your journey in having more wealth, more money, is you receiving, just receiving without the expectation of doing something in return. So if
Yes.
you want to have more of this, you as a woman have to, and I've been on this journey. It hasn't, I'm going to use the word difficult. I don't like to use that word
Hmm.
difficult, but it has been very uncomfortable for me.
Hmm.
But the more and more I started to go down this journey, life is lifing, and life is giving to me, and it's been beautiful. So I just wanted to add that in there.
I'm going to also add something to that.
Mhm.
The receiving piece of it. It's not just difficult for women. I too have been struggling with this since, well, since forever, but in 2023, I was at an event in Las Vegas and I was having a conversation with one of the women there. And we were talking about exactly this receiving piece of it, and that it's cyclical. In order to receive, in order to give, you also have to learn to receive as well. It's cyclical. So it goes around and around and around. And this is something that I've been mindfully working on since 2023, is that art of receiving, because it is an art form to learn to receive. It is not easy. um it's a journey, we'll say. Not, I don't want to
Yeah,
use,
it's a
again, I'm
journey.
trying to be mindful
I know
of
it's
the
a journey.
words, right, because of the book.
Yeah.
But it's a journey to learn to receive, and if you don't learn to receive, you cannot give fully in order to complete and continue that cycle. So it is important that we all learn that journey of receiving and learn how to do it well in order to be able to give too. When we put good out in the world, good begets good. It keeps going. It's that ripple effect. So I want to ask you, Diana, before we wrap up here today,
Mhm.
what are two things that really hit you and stuck out in this book?
So the biggest thing is for me to release the identity and the beliefs around struggle.
Hmm.
There was a really big, I'm recognizing from my upbringing. I come from an Asian culture, so it's very much tied around hard work and struggle and sacrifice. And so this book really gave me the validation that I can let that go,
Hmm.
and that I'm actually here to enjoy my life. That was a really big one, because that was something I did not know. I never observed my parents, with love. I know they may be on here, but with love, that I never saw my parents enjoy their life. It was always
Hmm.
about hustle and grinding and working, and not having time for the things that they really wanted to do. So
Hmm.
this book gave me that understanding. And so now I've been enjoying my life, and I like to go salsa dancing. So I've been dancing a lot more, and dancing just makes me so freaking happy. I just get into a whole other state. So I've been doing
Hmm.
that. And then the other thing was the accepting and the understanding that it's okay for me to have the wealth. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
for me to have it. And that's where now the identity piece has really started to anchor in for me. And I can see it and I can feel it. And
Mm-hmm.
so the more and more I embody this already, right? Now I get to also be the example for other women, saying,
Mm-hmm.
okay, women that have come almost like a similar journey from me
Mm-hmm.
in my journey, saying, okay, you can also have it as well. Here you go, my love. That's what I'd like to do. Here you go, my love. You get to have the wealth. Will you come with me on this journey? Will you step up into your leadership, into your role
Mm-hmm.
of having this beautiful resource that's here to do good in the world? That's
Hmm.
my way. What about you?
Thank you for sharing those, Diana. One of them I think was the whole time thing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that time isn't real and that we've created it and that we have everything we need. It's all there. We're living in this duality.
Mm-hmm.
And again, being mindful of the words we use, because I've been trying to catch myself more and more, and I have been getting better at it. It's still learning. There's still a learning curve, and it still takes practice, and it's a journey. But knowing that it's all already there, we have everything we could possibly need. Anything we could possibly want for, we have it there already for the taking. It's just a matter of stepping into that piece, into that mindset, rewiring the neurons to realize that it's already there. It's already done. It's mine. I have, and you have been helping me with that in our conversations that we have during our mastermind sessions, and you catching me even when I'm speaking saying the words I shouldn't be saying. Brad, watch what you're saying. So we do that for each other, catch each other when we're saying those things. And I think the other big thing was the fact that he talked about um, that we don't own anything. We do not own a single thing. It's almost like it's on consignment for us. We don't own it. We don't own the cars we have. We don't own the houses we live in. Yes, on a piece of paper it says you own it, but you don't own anything. It's all just energy. Everything is energy. And I have to say one more thing that he talked about that really hit me. And this one I think was probably the biggest thing is he says in the book when someone has an idea, something lands on their heart or in their minds to do something, to create a program, to create a product, whatever that is the universe's way of telling you that that person specifically needs that service or that product that you've gotten the download to create and give to the world. Someone specifically has sent you that message and is asking you to create that product. That blew my mind. That
Yeah.
truly blew my mind thinking about that because I never ever thought about it that way. And that was powerful.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love that. That's such a beautiful reminder because one of my mentors that I follow says that your desires are a reflection of your destiny. So if you
Hmm.
desire something to
Hmm.
put out in the world, it was given to you for a reason
Hmm.
for you to go and carry it out. Why do you think you have it? And so if you have a desire, if you got a download to do something and you're really inspired to do it, then and that's the other thing too about the book. I want to add
Hmm. Yeah.
one last thing is taking the action.
Hmm.
It's not going to fall in your lap.
Nope.
It's always going to come from another person. It's not going to just magically appear. It's also about taking action and
Absolutely.
taking that inspired action. So I think it's amazing, and I can't wait also for us to announce future discussions of
Yes.
this. This is just kind of a little starting,
Hmm.
starting the conversation, and for people to come and to start to get the wisdom, gain the knowledge, and to start reading it. And then who
Hmm.
knows how it's going to help you. So you in turn are going to go help somebody else.
That's right. That ripple effect of sharing the information within the book. So keep an eye out. Diana and I will be posting and creating events for you guys. We'll be doing discussions just like this one, quick little half-hour discussions about the book, things that resonated for us. And we'd love to hear from you guys during our conversation. Please chime in if you've read the book or if you've heard of the book. Comment, let us know in the chat as we are doing these conversations. We would love to hear from you. We look forward to sharing more and more about this book and having more powerful, insightful, and thoughtful conversations around the book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation. If you have any questions about the book or for Diana or myself, please don't hesitate to reach out to either of us. We're happy to have a conversation with you guys, talk about the book, share about the book, anything you guys want to know. We're more than happy to discuss. So thank you all for tuning in. For those who caught us on the live, and again, have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Thank you for tuning in. Diana, thank you, of course, for being here with me and for helping come up with the idea to do these conversations, to share the wisdom around the book. It's been an absolute pleasure doing the live with you. I appreciate you. Have an amazing rest of your day, too.
Thank you so much, Brad. And thank you all so much for watching. And we'll be also dropping the link. If you want the audiobook, we also have it on
Yes.
YouTube. We'll be dropping the link for that. So you can go and just
Yes.
listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Share the wealth. So thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah.
Have a beautiful rest of your day. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.